Good evening, everyone. I apologize again for the delay. My name is Devin. I am just here to facilitate.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
You can just find on here.
Okay. My name's Devin. I am here to facilitate. I do apologize, and Kiana apologizes. Her son is in the hospital, so she couldn't be here this evening, so she asked me just to facilitate. So that will be my role this evening. She did send me some things to say and some talking points, and then I'll just have the speakers come up, and that's what I'll do, is introduce everyone. So good evening. I want to begin by thanking each of you for coming out tonight. Your presence here speaks volumes to your commitment to the community of Penn Hills. We're joined this evening by some of our most dedicated leaders, and then also our residents. We're here for one reason, and that's to ask what now and start answering questions together. As many of you know, our community has been shaken by recent events, especially the tragic shootings that have impacted our families, neighborhoods, and our sense of safety. It's okay to feel angry, anxious, and overwhelmed, but tonight we come together not only to grieve, but to build, to ask how we heal, how we respond, and how we move forward stronger, safer, and more connected than before. This town hall is about solutions and support. We'll share local resources, listen to your voices, and discuss ways we can protect our young people, support our families, and ensure every person in Penn Hills feels safe and valued. We're not just reacting, we are planning together. I would like to bring up our first speaker, Representative Joe McAndrew.
No need to clap, thank you. I don't even know if I need this. I wasn't expecting to be here tonight. I was in Harrisburg. We're in budget negotiations still. We're in a place where realistically I'm on the Democratic caucus. We have a one-seat majority. The House is controlled by us, but then the Senate is controlled by the other side. And I don't know how many people here know, but I mean, a lot of our funding comes from things like PCCD and to get or support to your organizations. PCCD is on the front line of trying to be cut by the Senate Republicans. So we're there doing that battle and getting that done. But specifically, while we're there doing that, and I'm traveling a lot right now, at the same point, you guys are here. And you're seeing on the front lines in these streets shootings day in and day out, not just in our community, but across the region. Some people say it's because it's summertime, but I say it's just unacceptable. And it's just sitting here trying to realize, listening to you more than listening to me, in my opinion, is how I'm going to try to find ways that I can get resources to you to solve these problems. It's really just, it's heartbreaking. I feel like we've been in these rooms before. I feel like we've had the Peace Coalition and had these conversations, and we just keep going round and round and round in circles. But at the end of the day, last week, 2 girls got shot, 1 dead. A guy got shot the next day. There's shootings in Homewood, there's shootings in East Pittsburgh, there's shootings across this region. And I don't necessarily think it's Penn Hills specifically. I think it's just what we're dealing with across the board. But more or less, what I'm here to be is a resource to try finding ways that, while you guys are on the front lines and you're doing your thing, that I'm providing what I can to be of support. Like I said, I'm not here all the time, so I'm not on the front lines like you guys are. So I'm trying to listen to you. If it's not today, then schedule a meeting with me to find a time that we can talk. I've tried meeting with organizations across the board several times. I'll continue to do that, to have that conversation, to see, whenever our state budget is done, what resources we can continue to provide for these efforts. But specifically, I just want to say thank you to everybody in here who's doing the work to save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Now I would like to invite up the Mayor, Mayor Pauline Calabrese.
Thank you so much. Thank you for holding this forum, and thank you for being here. Like Representative Andrew, I just found out about this myself. Councilor Joanne Fascio is here tonight as well. We do have another meeting tonight, but we do thank you very much for inviting us here. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up in the city of Pittsburgh. And, when I grew up, Pittsburgh was very much segregated according to race and ethnicity, and we didn't have very different neighborhoods. But I was about 15 years old when I discovered that we do have a shared experience, though. So I grew up in Bloomfield, and under the Bloomfield Bridge, you kind of had two choices. You could shoot hoops or you could shoot heroin. So my friends and I were over there shooting hoops, and by the grace of God, that's where I stayed. And I started to get good as I went on. Our basketball coach in my school, which incidentally I went to the same school with the Deputy Mayor Kathy Sapp and a former school board president Denise Graham-Shealy. And my basketball coach at the time was Big Daddy Murph. And back then, we didn't cross into other neighborhoods. I was the first white team that ever played up in Ozanam in the Hill District. We walked into the gym, and it was filled. The whole gym was filled, and we walked in. And Big Daddy Murph walked in with all these white girls, and the whole place went quiet. I said, what's going on? Why is everybody looking? And he said, because you're white. But you know what? We got on that basketball court. We played against each other. We played with each other. And I discovered that the same things that our mothers in Bloomfield were praying for, the mothers up in the Hill District were praying for. Look, this isn't new. This isn't new. But what is new is people like you coming out. Back then it just happened, and everybody said, oh, well, nothing we can do about it. Now we're saying, we don't know what to do about it. Look, I promise you, I don't have all the answers. I am here to listen. I can tell you from the municipal end of it, on the government end of it, right, we've got the largest municipal police force. We, for the first time in decades, have the most diverse, the first time ever, the most diverse police force. But that's not what it is. It's a bunch of different prongs, right? It's got to be home. It's got to be school. It's got to be the community. So I really am here to listen. Whatever I can do on the government side, I certainly will do that. But please know that behind the scenes, we are brainstorming. We've got a lot of different ideas. I'm so glad you're doing this. We're talking to other community members. We've got various groups here tonight. There are all sorts of things happening. My heart goes out to the victims, to the families, and we always say to those who are affected by gun violence, here's the reality. Every single one of us are affected by gun violence. Every single one of us. We've got 10 parks in Penn Hills. We've got a splash pad. We've got a skate park. We've got a dog park. We've got neighborhood playgrounds. We've got various sports. We've got all sorts of things. It's a good start. It's not enough. And it's also not the youth. It's not just, right? These are targeted instances. So I want to let you know that to the extent that I can do anything, and Councilor Fascio, whatever we can do on the government side, but also just on the human side, just as people, right? Growing up, I heard gunshots, but again, nobody said, what can we do? We said, nothing we can do. So I'm happy to see these various groups out that say, hey, what can we do? Let's all brainstorm together. And I'm very happy to listen. Any solutions we have in any way that I can work with you, I'm happy to do that. And I know there are people here from other communities. Thank you for crossing the boundary and coming here to us. And I'm happy to continue working with you, happy to listen, and happy to do anything that you can. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry. So even though Kiana is not here, she did give me everything that I say today. She did put together, so she had this already planned. Some talking points and some things that she wants us to touch on and also take away are to acknowledge the pain that everyone is going through and to talk about healing and prioritize healing, to address some of the incidents that have happened, which you have heard from our representative and our mayor, emphasize the importance of mental health support, of trauma recovery, and being present just for one another, just allowing each other to be heard sometimes. Introducing community resources, so local youth programs, mental health services. You're going to hear from some programs in a little bit. Food access, housing assistance, police community partnerships, violence intervention initiatives that are already underway, And then certainly we want to hear from residents about what it is that you would like to see, and not just in this space, but also if you aren't comfortable talking openly, or maybe it's just too emotional to talk openly, then please know that even beyond this, you can continue that dialogue. And then invite community dialogue throughout this. So this is not just a one-time event. Kiana wants to continue the events and continue the communication and keep the talking going. I would like to invite up now Diane Weaver from Center for Victims.
Hello. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Center for Victims. We are a complete one-stop shop for victim services. We have programs for domestic violence, we have a shelter, we have a hotline for anyone who is experiencing any type of violence, any victimization. We also have our department where we go out into the communities, we do trauma education, we do pretty much anything. We respond to crisis, we go into the schools. We provide services to educators, to police. I work with probation also. Like I said, we have a trauma education. We have a whole experience at the center. We have a whole floor that's dedicated to educating people on trauma. We have advocacy. We have, and all this is free, therapy, anything pretty much that anybody needs, we can provide, and if we don't have it, we'll find someone that can provide you those types of services. Excuse me, I am a resident of Penn Hills for the last 20-some years. I am invested in this community. I have watched my children lose friends to violence, and I really want to figure out ways that we can come together and provide services and help the community heal. If anybody, I passed some things out earlier. If anybody needs one, I can get you, for those that came in a little later, I can get you some. But if anybody has any questions, if anybody that knows about the center wants to add anything, we're available. We go into Penn Hills High School. I've gone into Linton Middle School. We sit in there during the lunches. We watch. We talk to the kids. We stop fights from happening. We do a lot. We respond to the district when they have needs, when they have had losses between staff and students. So we're here. We also participate in the Penn Hills Peace Coalition. So, like I said, I live in Penn Hills. I'm invested. The majority of our department has some tie to Penn Hills. We're here. We go anywhere in Allegheny County. We provide services to anyone in Allegheny County. And our advocates do stuff like going to court with victims, preparing them for the judicial system and what to expect and those types of things. And like I said, our services are free. So, any questions? Anything you guys want to add? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, so much. And next, we're going to hear from Jason Johnson from Cure Violence. Thank you.
How y'all doing? I'm Jason Johnson, supervisor for Cure Violence East. We are a violence prevention nonprofit. We try to, with boots on the ground, trying to stop all the shootings and the killings in our targeted areas. Our areas are Wilkinsburg, Penn Hills, East Hills, and Homewood. I'm the supervisor for Penn Hills at Wilkinsburg, and we just try to get the community resources, housing, jobs, anything you need. We try to meet our participants with what they need. I got my team over here. Well, a few members of my team over here, a couple of violent interrupters, Brandon, Justin, Ahmed, Nikki Pratt, she's the supervisor for Homewood East Hills. Shayla Holmes is our leader, our program manager. We also hit with the Peace Coalition on Tuesdays when they meet. And yeah, we just trying to stop the disease of violence, man. Violence is a disease. That's our motto. We try to, something happens, we try to stop it so there's no retaliations. We do a lot with the youth. A lot of us are football coaches, so like, even though I'm from Wilkinsburg, but I coach a lot of kids that go to Penn Hills. My daughter goes to Penn Hills, so we're heavy invested in the Penn Hills community. We actually was in the school last year. We didn't get back into this year. It was kind of a bummer for us because the relationship that we built with the kids, and it was real good for them and us, and they had a few games in there, so we was really there every day from September till it was out, and we stopped a lot of things that could have spilled out into the streets outside of school, so we just hoping we get back in there this year to continue that relationship and continue to serve the Penn Hills community. I do want my VI, Matt Ingram, he's a Penn Hills native, grew up in Penn Hills, just to speak real quick.
Thank you, brother. How y'all doing today? My name is Ahmed Ibrahim. I grew up out here in Penn Hills. Actually, my family moved from Wilkinsburg here in like '94. Actually, I can honestly say it saved my life. You know what I mean? Played ball out here. Had a great time. Like I said, when I was growing up here in the '90s, this was like a real community. I don't know what happened, how this thing spun. It's out of control right now, but there's nothing normal about 30, 40-year-old men and women burying their children. It's nothing normal about it, and I'm not going to continue that. That's what we at Cure Violence East continue to do, is work with these kids. We work with the highest risk individuals. Highest risk meaning either being shot or due to shooting. So like I said, we try to stay on these individuals and give them resources. Like I said, we'll get calls 2, 3 in the morning. If they're having an issue, if they're having a mental breakdown, or they feel like they're about to commit some type of violence, they reach out to us. And I hate the fact that we're not still in the school at Penn Hills High School. We really were making a difference while we were there. Like I said, I see some of these same kids that we met in the school that I see out in the neighborhoods now. How you know, I check with them. How you doing? Everything okay? You need something? You know, just that little bit just like can change a young kid or an individual's life that's going through so much, just asking them how they're doing. But right about now, it's not just 1 or 2 things that Penn Hills needs right now to curb this violence. It's going to take all hands on deck and whatever resources is out here. But me, I'm 10 toes down. I want to get this thing changed and really make a difference out here. It's really personal for me. So I love what I do, and willing to work with everybody with this. So thank you for having me.
Thank you both so much. And our next speaker is Leon Rockymore from Roxmore Sports.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that, you know. But I'll do my best. My name is Leon Rockymore. I'm the owner of Roxmore Sports Network, where we elevate youth profiles so we can be a bridge for them to pursue college and to pursue a better life. Some of us made a difference in our own families when we decided to pursue a better life. So at Roxmore, we do that in multiple different ways. And one of the things that we've done recently, I made the investment into a boxing gym. We now own the largest boxing gym in the state of, well, not in the state, but in the city of Pittsburgh, well, in Allegheny County. I can actually officially say that. It is a boxing arena. Thank you for that. One of the reasons why I did it was not only just to support my son's dreams, but one of the reasons why I did it was because when I was growing up in St. Clair Village, which is no longer around, some of you who know, you know. Is that the saying? When you know, you know? When I came home from school, we had somewhere to go. We had something to do, which helped keep us busy and helped us stay out of trouble. Now today, most of the kids in our communities, including Penn Hills, they have nothing to do when they get out of school. They have no outlet. They have no recreation center. They have no community center. They barely have a community pool across the city. So when they have nothing to do, and they have nothing but to do is play with time, TikTok, hello, I'm sorry, punchline. when they have nothing to do, they start to do different things with their time. And when they start to do different things with the time, they find themselves getting into all kinds of trouble. And most of the time, it surrounds with their friends. So I invested and opened up a boxing gym, and I have a therapeutic boxing program, which is a violence intervention strategic move. We have therapists on staff. We have 4 of those. We have 2 art therapists on staff, and we have 4 boxing coaches on staff that are all licensed professionals. We do this to give the kids something to do and somewhere to put all that bad energy. Some of them are temperamental, hot-headed, misbehave, all the above. I've serviced at-risk youth kids for quite some time. We recently dissolved a relationship with CYF. It wasn't going too great. I didn't like what they were doing with the kids there. However, we're still servicing those kids. We do that because we want to always be a difference and help them to have an outlet, to have a place to vent, to get that frustration out. They can take it out on the bag and all the above. And when you start to teach people how to box, there's a lot of self-discipline in place. So we use that as a strategy to cut down them from doing some things that they had no business doing. Now, I've worked with shooters. I've worked with victims who've been shot. And they are all still now in my program. They have not left. They want to stay. They are there to stay. And I am there to help them. But it's a challenge. So anyone who has the bravery, the courage to stand in the gap and try to help a child any way that you can. Everyone has their gifts. Everyone has their talents. To be able to reach out to a youth and to make a difference. Sometimes that's all it takes is a, hey, how you doing? And not misunderstanding that child, realizing they might be having a bad day. They're triggered by something, whatever the case may be. But because if you can stop them from committing the violence, we can stop innocent people from being hurt. Does that make sense? So the plan that we've always decided to stand on is to continue to intercede, to intervene, and to continue to give them a place to go to when school's out. So I'm hoping to remain a beacon in Homewood, the heart of the city, Homewood, to be a gym in Homewood that people can explore. I hope to make it a tourist attraction pretty soon. I'm working on some stuff. But the goal is to keep getting the kids to have something to do and give them a reason. Because when you join our boxing gym, if you join our competition team, I operate like a football team. You got to have at least a 3.2. Ain't no 2.0s around here. So we raise an academic standard for the kids that come in our doors. And we have adults that mentor the younger ones for the kids who come in our doors. The goal is to keep building the bridge, be the bridge, so that we can be the difference. Make sense? I'm Leon Rockmore. I don't want to take much of your time.
Thank you so much. I think that throughout all of this, we've hit on some pretty significant things, that community programs are continuing to close. We even here saw it with our YMCA, which seems like a very long time ago, but we're seeing it all across the communities. After school programs are being canceled or are non-existent, and even if the after school programs are existing, the buses have gone away. So there's no way for your children to go to the programs and then be able to get home. Housing prices are increasing and income staying stagnant. So you're seeing families who have to work 2, 3 jobs just to be able to make ends meet and be able to afford the housing. You're seeing families double up, triple up. These are now, increasing emotional tolls on people. So people are really at a breaking point. And all of this takes its toll on us as adults. But then sometimes we're so focused on what's going on with ourselves, we don't see how it's impacting the children. I work in family shelters and we see it a lot. And it's you don't see what's happening to the children as you go through. And it's not due to any fault of your own. There's just so much going on at the end of the day that you have to take care of. And it's hard. So at this point, I'd really like to open this up to anybody else who would like to talk about any other community resources that you have, or anybody who really just has something to say and really wants to talk. Yeah, please. Thank you.
How you doing? I don't need no mic.
It's on.
So everybody can hear you at home. We need that microphone.
Oh, okay. I got a loud voice, but
okay,
that's
bro.
okay.
We can't hear you.
Okay, DJ Boxing Gym. I got you. Some of y'all know me in another setting, but especially y'all. First of all, I think this is long overdue. I'm a long-time resident of Penn Hills, but I come from home with Wilkinsburg area. I've been here for over 15 years. I think I first want to say is anybody in this room that is not connected politically, you're already behind the 8 ball. I think the power of all things and awareness is holding your local officials accountable. Your mayor, your state rep, the CDC, the council. These are the people that are making decisions, or not so much making decisions, and favorable for our communities when it comes to violence. I'm involved in an organization called Vean Pittsburgh, and a few people here, my friends here. That's how I know Shayla from doing the work. So we do civic engagement, and it's really focused in Ward 13. That's Homewood, East Hills. That's our main focus. So I was brought on to this Democratic Committee of Penn Hills in 2023. And I'll leave my comments to that, separate and focus on the violence piece. But what I will say is, very loudly, one of my first meetings, I talked about the violence in Penn Hills. And my mayor and our council person said, there's not a violence problem in Penn Hills. So it just blows my mind that that was not a problem. This was 2023. At that meeting, at that moment, 2 days prior, there was a young man that was shot and killed, a youth, in Penn Towers. And you telling me that there's not a violence problem in Penn Hills? So again, and to our community, as collectively, and those in this room that wants to really be accountable and really want to stand up, we have to recognize that there is a problem. You're either part of the problem or part of the solutions. So you go into a lot of spaces and there's not people that's affected by the thing, it's easy to tone that out. It's easy to gaslight that out. So I'm asking for everybody in this room that is serious about this and serious about your kids and the kids that you're affected, because it's people that look like me that are affected the most. It's time that we come together and not let the people who don't seem to hear what we have to say and make a difference. I had a high schooler that graduated from Penn Hills every other day, from 10th grade to 12th grade. You heard about the violence in the schools. For moment of transparency. You know the emails, Penn Hills parents, moment of transparency, moment of transparency. So I can go on and on. But my thing is, I know we got tree-lined streets, and I know we got pickleball, a pickleball court. And we don't got a YMCA for our kids. We don't got a rec center. And we have nowhere for these kids to go. And most of these kids are transit. I'm friends with the coaches on the football staff. They're feeding these kids, some of your kids, because they're not getting meals at home. So shout out to for the village within sports. But what about the kid that is anxiety and got mental health issues and can't do that? What about those kids? So I'm shouting out Reginald Hickman here. He's one of our newest school board. Make sure you go out and vote. Make sure you go out and vote this next election. Make sure you put the people in place that are going to really hear you and lock in and not gaslight you on your issues. That's very important. And I welcome you to come to this Penn Hills Democratic Committee meeting, because there's not too many people there, too, that's going to speak up. I do. It doesn't always serve me well, but I'm unapologetic about it. And that's where the season that we're in, between this country with this crazy orange man in office who's here today. He's here. Okay, I had to work home from home because I work for the University of Pittsburgh. So I wasn't even allowed to go to work today because of the foolishness. So I feel like there's a collective number of things that we need to do to synergize our community. And you need to get politically involved and vote and make sure the right people in your school board and in some of these community offices together. And we need to go back to the old school, looking out for one another. If you see somebody else's kid walking or somebody, we can't be afraid anymore. That ain't working. I'm old school. I will tell a kid in a minute, don't be yelling at somebody. And I'm not afraid. But nobody is going to do it but us. I'm telling you, the people that are saying they're going to do it, they're performative. They don't care. I'm tired of the performative politics and community initiatives when it comes to our black and brown kids. I'm serious about it. I got nieces and nephews in this community. I got kids of my own in this community. It's time we wake up. So these organizations in these rooms, Pure Violence, I can vouch for them. They've been in the streets forever. Forever. These football coaches, these Reginald Hickmans and educators, they've been serving and doing it. You stand up for that. And we can't be quiet and not show up in the rooms even when you're not welcome. Be a disruptor. Go in there and ask your questions and don't let up. Keep your foot on the necks of these politicians and these officials that are not listening to you and not hearing you. They're going to tell you what they want to hear. They're going to tell you a story about back in the day when they was a little girl or wherever they was doing. What are you doing now? Hold their feet to the fire. And I promise you, when it's time to show up, show out. Encourage people to vote. Flip these tables, flip these votes. Get the right people in there to look like you. And not even if they don't look like you, represent your values. I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm pissed. And I'm real easy to get along with until I'm not. And when I'm not, so let the same energy that may anger you and sadden you to get out there and step up, get involved, even if it's a little stuff. We got our problems, we got our time. If you see somebody that you know that's working, listen, man, I support you. I can't come to all the little events, but what can I do to help you? Tell somebody to vote for this person. Tell somebody that you need to hook up with that person. Get involved. We can't be dead sleeping. And that's a lot, but I thank you. I'm Deidre Lassane, and I support my own message.
There were a few good points, but something that we also need to think about is the funding cuts that are coming. I mean, every single day we're watching more and more funding cuts. So while we're watching these programs go away, right now, food is getting cut and medical is getting cut. So those are additional services that we can think of that are going to go away, that are just going to increase the stress, and then also reduce all of the resources that we have. And get involved. And as you're sitting here and you're looking around at other community members that might be in this room, next time you attend a meeting, see if you can bring someone with you. Ask your neighbor, your friend, if they can come with you. You give them a ride. Why aren't they coming? You know, maybe you sit down and ask them, why aren't they involved? And let's see if we can get them involved. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? I'd really like to continue the conversation.
Thank you so much. As I said, we've got another meeting to go to, but I do want to point out, I am so glad for Mr. Hickman, Devin Getz. Just to be clear, the municipality is run by council. The school district is run by the school board. We have no power over the school district, so I don't know what happened with you coming into the schools, but that is something that I think maybe these folks can address, because we're two separate bodies. Thank you so much again for inviting us.
No, please. Yes, please.
So I would also say the Penn Hills Peace Coalition meets the first Tuesday of every month right here at 6 p.m. Make it a point to attend. At this point, we need as many people at the table, as many different perspectives, and as many people doing the work and invested in the community at the table. So I actually work for Gwen's Girls and Carrying Connections for Youth. We were in the school as well as CURE. We were not this past year, but I think we're in a good position to be in there this year. Yeah, but I think that that's another important thing, is to get CURE back in there, because not only did they stop a lot of stuff that could have happened, they're making a huge difference and connecting with kids on a daily basis in ways that other people don't. So. And again, the first Tuesday of every month, right here at the Peace Coalition.
Thank you for that. Anyone else want to talk about just anything, how you're feeling, what's going on? I know it's hard in a room like this. I apologize, but I have to give you the mic because everybody at home can't hear you.
My apologies. My name is Aisha Rice, and I am a longtime Penn Hills resident. I think, about to call you Dee Dee. Deidre basically said everything that how people feel. A longtime community member, just wondering why don't we have after-school programs? Why don't we have, if not the YMCA? I know Hebron Community Center, I know they were trying to do something at one point, but what happened? Those are just some of the questions that I have. I really can't follow up after Deidre, but everything she said, I was like, yes, noted, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So those are just some of the questions that I have. I would love to continue the conversations, or how other members in the community can help, of where are these programs, how can we help? Because I have 4 children that are coming up through the school. So I do hear about the fighting, but I don't hear about it. And I think it's probably because my son just doesn't want to share it. But what can I, as a community member, and also as a parent, what can I do to help?
So something I didn't realize is that if you have a child in a particular school, so if they go to the middle school, then you'll get emails about the middle school. But if you don't have a child in another school, so if you don't have a child in the high school, then you're not knowing what's going on at the high school. So that's something that I don't know if that's something that you want open communication about. I encourage you all to attend the school board meetings and ask the school board members who voted against continuing the Safe Spaces program in the school why. So there was a program run, it's Safe Spaces program. It operated in the high school. It was something that was put into place through a grant after school time through DHS. They worked together. Dr. Nancy Hines had worked collaboratively to get this in the school district. And unfortunately, there were a group of school board members that did vote for it to be removed from the school. I encourage you to ask why. You should know why. I encourage you to show up and ask, why are these organizations not at the school anymore, and why aren't they there? So I genuinely encourage you to ask the people that voted for them to be removed why. Are there any, please?
I just stated that we did ask the school board, and they had no real explanation. But it's people like Reginald over here, that is on board now, and that we know he's going to do his thing, and there's a couple other people I'm connected with that I've had conversations with, including Kristen Brown as well. I met with her, so I feel like we should be back in there. But I just wanted to say we did address it. They didn't have no real explanation.
And just for that program to be shut down, we saw between them and us, we saw so much and stopped so much just of the connection and being with that. So it's a shame that they closed that program down. And that was the only thing the kids had. So now you see them at McDonald's and then the shopping center, and then y'all to call it, now they labeled as thugs just running around, but they ain't got nothing to do. So that's their only outside. So.
No, absolutely. And Dion has been working to keep the Safe Spaces program open, but it's difficult without a location. So that's one of the things that I know he's struggling with.
Thank you.
I wasn't planning on talking tonight just because I wanted to come and listen, mainly because I am running for elected office, and I didn't want to use this as an opportunity to say, who I am and this, that, and the third. But I had questions for some folks who had left. City of Baltimore has seen like a 50-60% reduction in violence in the city of Baltimore this year. What are they doing? We need to ask that, right? So we can explore that. I know they're building community centers, right? They got swim pools open where kids are going to pools and things like that. Well, how are they doing it? Folks are doing it. Obviously, Penn Hills is in Baltimore, but what are they doing? What strategies are they leeching onto? I can probably imagine that they're looking at data, right? Where's the violence happening? Are they marshaling resources there? We just heard a little bit ago we have the most diverse police force ever for Penn Hills. Well, are they where they're supposed to be at the time they need to be there? Right? Somebody just mentioned the shopping center, right? If we know the young folks are there, is somebody there? Not to harass them, you know what I'm saying? Not to throw somebody down on the ground. It's that, not that part, but just to sit back. As a teacher, as a principal, I knew if there was a hot spot in the building, then I needed to have a teacher posted up there, not to harass nobody, but you just standing. Because your proximity oftentimes will quell a lot of foolishness. And when they go on and disperse and they go someplace, you know what you do? You follow them around the corner. We know that. But what's the data telling us? What story can be told? Who are the folks committing these crimes? What story can be told about them? Who it is, who the victims are, what's the data telling us about them? What story can we weave together from the numbers to help determine what it is, some possible solutions to all of this? So those were a couple questions that I had for the folks who had a meeting to go to. I'm just saying that's what they said. They had someplace to go. And I just had some questions that I wanted to ask because of that. Like, so, what are we doing with data? Who's collecting the data? Is there somebody in the mayor's office, on council's office, that's looking at these numbers? And I'm assuming, but I don't know, Devin, you know this better than I do, being on the school board, is there somebody in the superintendent's office that is looking at the numbers of fights that are happening in the school? Where are the hot spots in the school? How do we address those things? Because if they were, then they might have some other folks wearing orange in the building in those spots to make sure that those things weren't happening. Right, there are things that we can do that we need to really start doing. Some of it is with governmental organizations. Some of it's us, though. Right? Some of it's us. And I'm touching nerves right now, but I'm going to touch this nerve. We hit too much in the black community. I'm just talking to us right now. We hit too much. We got to stop hitting each other. And that starts with us being parents, hitting our children. I know I'm going someplace else, but I'm really not, because all of it's connected. All of it's connected. So we bragging about beating our kids' ass, but really what we doing is really desensitizing our children to violence. We need to get rid of that master mentality that we have. Understand the words I just said there. I didn't say slave mentality. I said master mentality. I'm doing something with this tonight, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? I want a slave mentality. Slaves was running away. You know what I'm saying? Slaves was beating up people that ain't had nothing, that was enslaving them. It's a whole different situation right there. But we got to stop hitting each other in our community. And it starts in our houses. We got to stop hitting our children. We got to stop desensitizing them to violence. And in the schools, we have to start teaching our kids. And I heard the brother say that the boxing ring, you guys got mental health. You're talking about anger, emotional self-regulation. All of those things need to be taught in schools. They have to be. Because our kids got to find new ways to express themselves. I've been in education a long time. A lot of times when our children get upset, they advocate for themselves by cursing and getting loud and this, that, and the third. Oftentimes because they see their mama doing it, but that's another story. Sometimes they daddy too, but I'm gonna push on from that. But we gotta teach them other ways on how to do those things. And explicitly, and in curriculum, and in classes, in health class, in PE class, in social studies class, character education class. Those things are needed so that our kids can come up with different tools on how to react and respond when they're in a pressure situation. And I'm gonna stop on this because Jada Kiss dropped a little jewel that I saw on Facebook earlier today. He said, don't let your emotions supersede your intelligence. Right? That's the first time I heard somebody flip it like that. You must have saw the same clip. But like that makes sense. And I was, as soon as I heard it, I was thinking like, all right, how do I get the students in the school I'm at now to really start to understand that? Like, don't let your emotions supersede and overpower and overcome your intelligence. How do you stay making smart decisions even when you heated, when you upset, when you in the moment? Can you step back and say, let me go left, because going right now is really going to be a problem. Thank you.
Please.
Come back around. I'm not a complainer. That's just me. We always gonna have issues. And sometimes we be waiting on other folks to fix it for us. No pun intended. But you get where I'm going with that. There's an old saying. I like how you tapped into history, because I'm a big history guy. When we have to take care of ourselves, we have to fix it ourselves. And there used to be a structure that used to exist back in the day where we actually did fix it ourselves. So I will say, somebody said something about the schools. You did. If we don't have an air inside the schools, I'll tell you this right now. As a professional, when I'm doing my boxing therapy classes with my students, most of the issues that are happening derive in the classroom, derive in the school. So if you take the intercessors out of the school, you take the air out of the situation. We can't hear what's going on. When you send in special tactics SWAT into a situation, they need eyes and ears so they know how to proceed with the situation. Same thing with us. If we don't have an ear in the classroom, we don't know what's going on in the school. We sitting there like, okay, why y'all shooting at each other? I thought y'all was just cool just a week ago. We took the ears out of the school. So what I would say in that situation is that we need to find a way to keep volunteering some way, somehow. Like, I had a contract with the county. It no longer exists. I had to find another way, some way, somehow. The kids that I'm teaching, they wanted me to quit on those kids, CYF particularly. Yeah, I'm punching lines right now. So I told them I wouldn't quit. I volunteered. All my staff, we volunteered. We kept helping those kids because they're kids that are sitting there in the gap with no real family support. Some of them have all different kinds of challenges, mentally and emotionally. We just wasn't going to quit. What am I trying to say? So I'm a solutions guy. I don't like to just complain. Sometimes we just going to have to volunteer. We may not get paid for it, but it might be necessary. And if you believe, like I believe in a God who always takes care of you, he'll find a way to get you right. He'll get you right. I'm a living testimony of that. 6 companies, 18 years in the game. He got me right. To have the facility that I have, he got me right. So what am I trying to say? Sometimes we have to volunteer our time to do something, even if it's just a little bit. At least you're doing something. But if we don't find a way to stay in the schools some way, somehow, we are defeating ourselves before we get started. Because by the time we get in, it's after the death has already happened. The person's already in the hospital. What good can we do then after the violence has already been committed? The goal was to be a proactive specialist, not a reactive specialist. Why wait till after when we could prevent before it even happens? So my suggestion would be is to find a way to volunteer. Because right now, what I am grateful to say, I closed the deal with Penn Hills Charter. They send our kids to us in the intramural program, so we keep their kids. And I say, send me some of your not-so-behaved kids as well. Don't just send me just the scholar ones. Send me the not-so-behaved ones as well. I got Faison on board. We got Propel Charter Schools on board. So I'm grateful that God is still showing me a way that there's other ways to get this done. What I'm saying, if we're all going to be a beacon of hope, when we talk about community centers, the community centers look different now. They don't have walls anymore. They look like us. We are the community center. Your program is the community center. Your actions is the community center. That's where the community center lies now. We're not going to get our own building. Might as well let that go. Who's going to drop that kind of money? You seen who's in office right now? You think they're making any investments into the community? Nope. It ain't going to benefit nobody. It ain't going to benefit nobody. It's supposed to benefit the kids. They don't care. It ain't their kids that's getting hurt. They live in a completely different zip code. Let's just be honest. If I'm going to shoot it straight, I'm going to shoot it straight. So all I'm saying is we have to be the community center now, meaning that make sure your programs are as visible as possible, because there might be something that a kid might be attracted to. If you make the parents aware of it, it might be something that they can send their kids to, because you got to realize not every parent knows it all, and not every parent has it together. So sometimes you might be able to teach that kid something that their parents technically just can't. So all I'm saying is we all going to be beacons, and let's be beacons truly and make ourselves as visible as possible, the best way we can. But if somebody's telling you no on something that's right and your moral compass is set for 6 o'clock, which means straight up and down, go for it anyway. Find a way to get in those doors, some way, somehow. Get creative. Don't be defeated. Because once we defeat it, it's just one more day that goes by where that kid didn't hear your voice. One more day that goes by where that trigger got pulled. One more day that goes by that casket closes. Are we being honest now? Does this make sense? So for those who go into schools, I applaud you, because going into some of these schools, into a hot, hostile situation, notice how Pittsburgh Public Schools have done it as well, where they like to go in after the situation. Go in before. Be proactive. Find out what's going on, something's starting to go on. Be part of the process. And if the school district is not inviting you into the process, they the problem, not you. But find a way to get in there. Because if you got your clearances and all the above, and you say you're a volunteer, they can't stop you from being in that joint. You done passed all their rules. You done jumped all their ropes. Hula hooped all their hoops. You understand what I'm saying? You did everything that you needed to do. So why not consider doing things that way so that we can keep pushing forward and pushing over doors and knocking down barriers, because it's not just you, it's who's behind you. And if you're a believer, that's who's always behind me, helping me push. That make sense? That's it.
Thank you. 5 years ago, we sat down and we made a plan in my office, and Penn Hills was part of that plan. So we don't have a formal contract with Penn Hills to be in the school, but we did have a vested interest in the school because we're residents. Sean's an alumni, Diane's a parent, and very active in the community. But what we did was we work with AIU kids, and working with AIU kids who have been sent out of the Penn Hills area, we brought them into our office for the trauma exhibit. And we walked them through the trauma exhibit, and they expressed all the things that they were going through, all the things, all the experiences, all the traumas, and all those things. And we followed them back to AIU. And then when they came from AIU back to Penn Hills, we followed them back to Penn Hills. And in doing that, you're too humble. In doing that, we found out from a lot of the girls and the boys, a lot of the incidents in the hot spots, not just in Penn Hills, not just in the Woodland Hills areas, but a lot of these kids up here were tied into things in the McKees Rocks area, a lot of girl fights that the boys were getting involved in, and we were able to get in front of that stuff. And we don't share a lot of that information. We just get in front and knock on doors and do what we need to do. And we don't talk about it because we don't want our reputation to be interrupters, because you guys are doing a great job. Y'all know I love y'all. So we don't talk about that stuff. We just do it. And one of the reasons is because I do have a court presence in regards to advocacy. I do have a court presence in regards to our families, predominantly black families, who didn't have the best relationship with the DA's office or the detective. So I work for them, and I've worked with some of those Penn Hills parents. And last month, we were able to bring in the Penn Hills administrators into my office on 2 different occasions for formal trainings on urban trauma, on what our kids are going through, what they're seeing, how to deal with it, how they should take care of themselves. So these are a lot of things. Like I said, we don't talk about a lot about what we do. Everybody looks at that building and they're like, okay, that building is full of white women. But anybody that knows us knows that we are detailed in every part of this county. The things that we encounter, whether it be urban violence and other stuff, we're in sexual trafficking at times, everything. But we keep our mouths shut. And even when we're on our calls weekly, I listen to a lot of things. And a lot of those cases that we're talking about on our shooting reviews, I'm already involved in, but I can't talk about them. So when we talk about Penn Hills, we're in there, but there is no contract. We're in Woodland Hills. I don't want a contract. We've been offered it. We've been offered a lot of stuff because, again, we get in front of this stuff. We knock on the doors. A lot of the boys, I had their moms. I had some of their moms at Imani and in different things. I know their whole families, and now the girls are the same way. But I just think, like I said, I hope that it happens. The more the merrier. But our contract, we don't have a contract. We did what we planned 5 years ago, which was we wanted to train this staff and their administrators on who's in that school and what the transient population coming this way has experienced, and the family dynamics and the hereditary violence. And we know more about those kids in that school because I'm from here. So I know all these families and sit down with them. But again, the more the merrier. We need to tie in and talk. And a lot of times on those calls, I can't talk because I don't want a lot of stuff shared. I admit it, because it might show up in court. So again, I encourage Penn Hill School District to let y'all in because we've been working together and loving on each other for the last 2 or 3, 4 years. And transparency is everything. But I hadn't met the young lady, Deidre. I hadn't met her. And I just wanted you to know that we're involved, how heavily we're involved, that it's not just we're coming in to spend time with kids and spend the lunch. We are heavily involved. And after an incident, we're the first ones called as it relates to services, crisis, and a lot deeper. And we've had a lot of domestic violence kids in that school. Diane does a court program called Victim Offender Dialogue, where she's had a lot of Penn Hills kids come into our office for a court proceeding where they sit across the table from the person they offended. So we do a whole lot in that building. I just say we're a continued resource, and we will be.
Thank you for adding that, Coach Cal. I just wanted to add that we were basically refused to come back into the school. So it really wasn't anything, like my whole staff is nothing but volunteers, you know, like even before this work, they were volunteering in their communities, volunteering as coaches, volunteering as, you know, community leaders and activists. And, you know, so it was really that we got told no, you know what I mean? Like I talked to Dr. Taylor multiple times, you know, and we got told, oh, we already have security in this school. And I had to basically tell him, well, we're not security, you know, that's not what we do. So, you know, we're always going to show up regardless. Again, a lot of my staff still has relationships with a lot of the students. You know, we talk often with Center for Victims, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to kind of make that point that, you know, it wasn't like, oh, y'all can't come up here, and then we just was out. You know, we tried multiple times and literally got refused, you know, to come back into the school. So again, it's going to be people like Reginald and Dawn Golden and Kiana and, you know, people that understand what we do, that's going to really help us get back in there without that pushback and without that negativity. But my whole staff, they do a wonderful job, you know, whether we getting a check or not, because that's not why we in this work. We in this work to make true change and true impact, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to add that.
There was a question about the data, and I just want to point out, any questions that you have, you can always file a right to know. You can file a right to know with the school district, and you can file a right to know with the municipality so that you can get the answers to the questions that you need.
Okay, I'm real talky, but I don't feel like this is doing nothing, child, but okay. This mic. I will say this, there was so much rich information shared. Shout out to you, Center for Victims. I got a close family member that was received your service and involved in the organization for years, Deborah Journey. Yeah, that's my godmom. But nonetheless, I think the bigger problem, I see like a series of kind of issues that I'm hearing, and I want this to be recorded and noted, because if we're going to be, a kind of like a think tank and trying to create some action, we need to think about like some of the things. And what I'm hearing is like there's like a lack of awareness. Like I think the problem, and this is me, I'm coming as like a parent as a high school and also a community member who I feel like I'm involved in and know, like I never knew about your group in a high school. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's like there's like communication breakdowns of us not knowing who we have in a room. I think this is great because now we know, but I think even within the Penn Hills community as a parent and parents in their own civic and social organizations, we can be a linchpin and lean on one another. Like my sisters and brothers over there, they're a part of a Black Greek sorority and fraternity, as myself. They're specifically the sorority who are good friends of mine, the woman of Zeta Phi Beta GATS girls chapter. They focus on Penn Hills. Their whole, like, we are a part of, like, independently, our sororities and fraternities, we are a part of organizations that do community service. So, like, and I know my sorority, there's a ton of us that are in this area. So it's like, I think we first need to figure out who are the players in the room and in Penn Hills, and collectively kind of create some type of like, directory of resources, because there is so much lack of awareness. And then even with the pushback, it just, like, I'm not surprised that they did not let you into school, but there's still outreach that can be done with even without them. And, there can be bridge building as far as our work collectively. Secondly, what Dr. Hickman was speaking on is just like in our own kind of trauma and things we need to address in our community. Like, I think it's good to call out, because I'm putting on my professional hat now. I represent the Department of Psychiatry for the School of Medicine. I'm a director of development for Pitt. I've been there for 10 years. And when we just want to talk about stats and data, like, suicide is the highest trending thing for teens. There's no color on this. There's no female versus males. It's a thing. And COVID put us under the edge. We are in a mental health crisis. We've been in a mental health crisis collectively since 2022. Because if you had mental health problems before COVID, that was exacerbated. But then you had people, because of isolation, because that wasn't normal, develop problems. And so many kids that we see come out of Western Psych that either try to suicide ideations or suicide. So our children, you got to think deep, for whatever different reasons, they're showing up to the school. And then when they leave the school, there's no support. So I think that, like, the mental health resources, like, if we can get, like, really tap into that, like, in the community space. But also, education is under attack. Development is a short word for fundraising. I'm a professional beggar, y'all. I ask rich people for money all day, and I also write grants on the side for my civic organization I do as a board chair. Like, the money is dry. They're attacking education. They are attacking SNAPs and food. They are attacking the very fabric of the communities that we are serving. And I'm a metrics person, so I want to just piggyback off of Dr. Hickman. Where are the metrics? Like, how many kids are showing up to school? What are the problems? We need some metrics and benchmarking so we can attack this the right way. And lastly, I'll close with this. When we speak of metrics and things that we need to be looking at, the numbers, as a civically inclined person who deals with voter registration and outcome, November 4th, we got this election coming up. I've been saying this at my committee meetings. I've been saying this to different individuals. We need to encourage people to come out and vote, because as much as people don't think, this president is one thing, but all election is local. All local voting matters. The stuff that's going to touch you the most, it's not going to be the president. It's going to be the mayor. It's going to be these judges. It's going to be your school board. So the council people, like all of those people, and giving you statistics, Penn Hills is 50% African American. We are 50-50. We not back in the 70s no more. We are predominantly a black community and 50% other. So now it's time for us to also recognize the power in that and not get caught up in all the other demographics, because at the end of the day, why they can't get into the school board and get into Penn Hills is because the school and the school board administrators don't care enough, and there's not enough representation on those panels that look like us to think that their job is important. So that all is connected to voting. So November 4th, we need to tell your friends, we need to do something. But now in the interim, when we leave this room, there needs to be the outcomes of actions. Who's in the room? What other resources have we not tapped into our own community can step up and help? And what could we do as far as resources to fill these gaps of mental health, food insecurities? I mean, there's a long list. We're not gonna save the world, y'all. We gotta be realistic. But we can try. If we can't help the issues unless we identify them. And there's a lot of things in this room that people who are expert that has identified, and we can get this message out beyond this space. That's the only way we're gonna tackle this.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. My name is Tamara Dixon. I'm a mom in the community. I'm also a content creator for Pittsburgh Brown Mamas. And I didn't know about what was going on. And I really was like, damn, I create content and get paid to create content. I wouldn't mind volunteering my time to cross-communicate to make sure people know what's really going on, the where, the why, and the how. I sat on a meeting today with Allegheny County. I was with government for 20 years. I left, started my own consulting firm, and we're talking about like how communities can go back into a place of almost like COVID, become more self-reliant, because that's the only way we're going to be able to survive what's coming down the pike, what is rolling down the pike, right? And so if there's no means and ways to communicate with my neighbors outside of my street, then how can I get to somebody I might need to across town? So as you were saying that, I'm like, I think that's a starting point, is figuring out how we're going to cross communicate and not just rely on social media or app, because today I was confused because there's a meeting coming up on the 17th and there's this meeting, and then the app doesn't have the event, and then Facebook had this event, and I was like, okay, it's not clear. And so normally when stuff's not clear, me, myself, and I don't show up because I just don't have the time. Even though this is my community, I pay taxes. I've been here my whole entire existence in Pittsburgh since '08. But if it's not clear, I'm just not investing in it. I'm sorry, I pay my taxes, and my kid doesn't contribute to the negativity. I actually contribute positively. But there's a ton of grants and there's initiatives going on that we could possibly implement here. I'm constantly putting things in other neighborhoods, but I don't know what the need is here, what connections are here, and how to bridge the gap. There are a ton of professionals and a ton of other people who are here, and I would love to help push some of the work. I don't want to do anything extra, but I will help communicate, and I can help create content, but I don't necessarily want to take over anything. So if there's something communication-wise that I can help with, I will be willing to, whether it's develop a system, develop like a phone tree, or a living document that people can see on an ongoing basis, like who's doing what, when, where, how, and why, because that's honestly the only way that we're going to survive this next 4 to 6 years minimum of the outcomes of whatever is going to happen. Politically pressing down, it's coming, it's here. SNAP is cut. The big bill has rolled out. Education is officially being turned over as we speak. The county laid off a whole department on the 31st of June without notice. OEE, anything with equity, diversity, anything with mental health, they're going to cut it by 60-something%. And so who's willing to do discounted services, who's willing to still just mentor, who's willing to be a part of the village that is not being a paid professional? I think it's the next step, as she was saying, like the mental health crisis is real. I often get more calls than not through social media about moms on the group now that I've never got before, and I'm like, it's not even always the mom, sometimes it's the babies. And so the school's missing the buck, teachers are overwhelmed, parents are overwhelmed, and we can assume like, oh, there's resources out there, people know, but when you're overwhelmed in your survival, you can't be like, oh, learn to swim even though you're drowning. So a lot of people are drowning who are considered normal, high functioning adults. So just imagine what that looks like for those babies. So any way that I can help, I do therapy. I'm not taking any clients, but I will. I'm not taking any clients. My mental health. I'm just like, it's a lot. So I will at my best with communication, and I can refer, and I can be a support, and I can sit in a meeting. I can show up at the school. I can help write. I can help advocate. That is what I can do for my community as long as I know what the need is.
We're at our last half hour, so I want to welcome anybody else who would like to speak, please. I also want to announce 2 events that are coming up. It was mentioned about the Penn Hills Peace Coalition. That next meeting will be August 5 at 6 p.m. So if you can attend, I encourage you to attend. So Penn Hills Peace Coalition, August 5th at 6 p.m. That will be in this room. And then also there have been community meetings throughout the community about different topics. The one about youth will be August 23rd. That will be at noon, and that will be at A Touch of Class, which is a new event center on Salzburg Road. So look for those announcements also. And I do hear you that it's very difficult to figure out what's happening and when, because sometimes there's a Facebook event, and then sometimes there's a flyer, and sometimes it's on the Passport app. So I do think that we all need to do a better job of being able to get information out. If you see something and you see an event, please post it, please share it, because then that does boost the visibility, and that does get that out so that more people hopefully will attend and are aware of what it is that's going on. Would anybody else like to speak? Please.
Thank you. My name is Jordan Rice. I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of everything everybody said tonight. I think one big thing, like sis over there said, I forgot your name, I'm sorry. Tamara, I think we need to get everyone's contact information together and try to create something where we can all communicate and kind of be like have a main point of contact. I know the borough has an app, but I don't know how often the app is updated with information. I know my wife's chapter had an event. She sent the information. It wasn't on the Penn Hills app, so don't know how well. Yeah. If we can just kind of, have one big point of contact. Pardon me? The Peace Coalition kind of does that. Oh. There is like a resource hub to it. Okay.
Coming to the meeting, you do the QR code, you get plugged into the resource hub. It shows every month what the new resource is, and there's like a whole network.
Okay.
So I think that would be a tool.
That's a good point. Yeah.
May not know. I did hear about the Peace Coalition, but not that there was a hub. So there are other people who may not know.
And the other thing is you don't have to come to the meeting.
If I don't get this to you, then the people at home don't hear you. So if you could repeat the part.
So part of the Peace Coalition, each month attendance is taken. Then there's a QR code. You sign up for the QR code. You share information about whether you're with an organization, whether you're part of the community, whether you're a parent, what your skills are, what your talents are, what you bring to the table. And then also there's a part where what resources do you need? And that information is collected every month. Meeting notices, meeting notes are sent out. There is a shooting response kind of thing set up that if there is a shooting, I think Rihanna sends something out and lets the coalition know what a family might need, whether it's clothing, whether it's support, whether it's meals, things along those lines. It works really, really well in Woodland Hills and Greater Valley, and Mr. Davis might talk about that, hopefully. And I think if we could just build that out even more, that would be really, really great. And you don't have to come to the meetings to get into that network and to get that information. So the Greater Valley has like over 300, 400 people in that network. So
You do have to come to the coalition meeting at least once.
Yep.
No, I wanted to get this back to you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, and it sounds like one common thing that, again, it's too bad everyone left, but a lot of stuff going on with the school board. It's like, I didn't know, now I have 2 kids in high school now, but like I didn't know y'all weren't allowed in the school. I didn't know that. So that's on me, and I got to take accountability for that. But it does sound like, because they can't tell all of us no. Like, they can maybe try and, shush you, but you can't shush all of us. Yeah, they can't tell all of us to be quiet, but it sounds like the school board, I think, is really, in my opinion, that's where we need to be. Like, collectively, it sounds like that's where a lot of change can be made, at least in the immediacy with the school board.
I think that the change in, I'm so sorry. Getting your steps in. I think the change in administration at the high school had a lot to do with some things. I think it's a huge part. So I'm hoping we have some good folks that are involved with what's going on in the district and trying to plan so they can be more proactive instead of reactive. But I would say come to the coalition meetings at least once, get the information. We're part of the coalition. Mr. Davis, come. The first Tuesday of every month, here, 6 to 8. Sometimes we have 4 people. Sometimes we have 30. So you can share the information. Come one time, see what it's about. And be active and share the information with other parents. I'm a parent. I'm one of those that have been active in the community for a long time. People will look at me and say, "Oh, you're so-and-so's mom." Yeah. Yep, I don't have a name. I'm just his mom, or I'm her mom, or I'm that grandma. But when you build the relationships, they'll come. They'll recognize you. They'll see you in the community, and families will reach out.
Thank you. They have changed the way that you can get on the school board agenda to speak. You do have to sign up whenever you walk in, so please, whenever you walk in, sign up so that you can speak with the municipality. I believe you have to sign up ahead of time, so check their website, make sure that you have all of that information so that you can speak. One of the roughest days in all schools, I work with a number of schools, is Monday. Everyone's coming in off the tail end of whatever happened on social media over the weekend. And really at this point, our children are spending so much time in front of screens, it really is desensitizing them to that human interaction. So they are missing all of that human interaction. And when you're in the schools, you're giving them that. You are in front of them, you're talking to them, you're communicating directly with them. And that's really some of the stuff that they need. I mean, even at birth, they tell you, you need that human interaction, that connectivity, and that touch. So are there any other comments? Kiana did also send me some closing comments. I apologize. She did have someone come into the room with her and her son, so she did need to stop and talk to them. So she wasn't able to join us and speak. But is there anybody else? Here. That's the BAM program, the Becoming a Man program. Yeah, no, please.
I'm sorry, my voice is a little raspy. I'm not feeling too well right now, but some of y'all might know me from the community. Both of my parents are graduates of Penn Hills. I'm a graduate of Penn Hills. I coach. I done coach with LJ. I've been around the ringer. One thing I'll say is that it's been a consistent theme in Penn Hills in the last 20, 25 years, whatever, since my parents graduated, that things have gotten progressively worse. And everybody's tried to push it to the side and say, it's okay, we'll figure it out, there's no problem, X, Y, and Z. Well, now we have an actual problem on our hands. And it kind of angers me when I see people push people to the side or not really give them any type of love or show them the respect that they deserve. This group right here, they put in a lot of work. They show up when people don't really want to show up. They do things that everybody else don't really want to do. So when I say we need to really lean into some of these other groups and support them and speak on their behalf, it's important, because if we don't, then they're just going to continue to push it forward and go with their own agenda versus the agenda that works for us. That's all I got to say.
One thing that I will say about our network is that we've established a level of communication. When we see something, you guys know. I know between Sean and Calvin, they talk to y'all. Myself is a little different, but when I say, hey, yep, we already did it. So even though you're not in the schools, we try to let you guys know, and you guys share information with us. So there's another way to go around them not being in there, but we want them in there. But we will bridge the gap however we can. And I'm just grateful for the stuff that you do and the fact that you're willing to bridge the gap with us too, and Quinn's Girls.
So a message did come in from home that said, from all the people out there in the cyber world, that asked if all of the organizations, a list of the organizations could be put online. So we will make sure that they get connected to the Peace Coalition, and then they go to those meetings and they're able to connect and get all of that information. And then in closing, Kiana, and please keep Kiana and her son in your thoughts this evening, and moving forward. If you follow her on social media, then I'm sure you'll be able to see as things start to improve. Tonight's not the end of the conversation. It's just the beginning of a movement. The work ahead is going to be hard, but worth it. And together, Penn Hills, it's our home, and it's time that we rise for it. So please continue this conversation, not just with the people in this room. Continue this conversation with the people outside of this room. Kiana, I'm sure, is going to plan another event. Please attend the Penn Hills Peace Coalition. Thank you for bearing with me tonight. And please, the next meeting that we have, bring your neighbors, bring your friends, so that we can fill this room and we can show the people that are in the top that we care, and it's time that action is taken. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. And Kiana is with us, so hang on.
Hi, everyone. I can't see anybody. I hope you can hear me. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you on the feed. Hold on, I'm gonna turn up the TV.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, first of all, good evening. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone that has come out to this meeting that was so important, not just to me, but to our leaders, to our community members. I apologize that I am not with you all today. It was my heart's desire and content to be there, and intent, excuse me, to be there. But unfortunately, a tragic emergency happened with my son, and I have to be by his side in the hospital. I was on earlier, so I did get to hear some things and know who was in the room. But then we had to close. I had to log out again. But nevertheless, you all are here. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to more meetings because, the purpose of me putting this together was so that we can be a part of the solution. And, not just be a part of the solution, but be a part of the unified solution. I can't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself. But together, we can strike a mighty blow. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that got up and spoke. I know that my Cure folks are there. Hello, Cure East. They are the violence prevention gurus for the east side of the county. Jason, can they hear me? A little bit. Can you hear me better? Can you hear me better?
No, just go ahead. Just keep talking. Just keep talking.
Oh, okay. So I just want to thank everyone. I thank you, Cure. I saw Coach Calvin Murphy there. I saw Diane there. Devin, thank you. Leon, thank you. Thank you. I saw Mayor Calabrese there. I don't know if she's still there. She did tell me she was going to have to leave early, but just want to say thank you to our mayor for showing up. We put the request out there and she showed up. And so I definitely want to give her props and thank her so much for that. But I'm looking forward to working with everyone in the room. We will be having these town hall meetings monthly. If you all want to come out again, we will be notifying you all and putting some more things together. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. This is tragic emergent situation, but it's nothing that me and my family won't overcome. I am coming to you guys live from the hospital. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I had to be here just to show you love. Thank you for your support, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you all. I hope you network tonight, get involved tonight, and I'll see you guys next month at our next meeting.
She said, thank you for showing up. She was here. She got to hear all of you talk, and she's looking forward to continuing this conversation. Please network with one another, share each other's information. You heard the announcement. The library is going to close in about 12 minutes, but please certainly share information and continue the conversation. Thank you.